Hello, this is Dr. Jansen, and we're very, very lucky to be with Kate Mansfield today, who is an expert in Tai Chi. July for us is Balance Month. 6 months in, 6 months to go, so it's in the middle of the year. So July is Balance Month. So I would be very interested in you learning something from Kate today, because she can teach you something about balance and who should work on their balance. Anybody at any age could use better balance.
Hello, my name is Kate Mansfield. I teach Tai Chi with the New York School of Tai Chi Chuan. I'm also an acupuncturist. I practice 5-element acupuncture here in New York City. I'm here today to give you a little taste of Tai Chi if you've not tried it before. It's really a great exercise to practice because anybody can do it. It's at any age, any level of physical fitness. And it's very much about balance. Our theme for today. Balance and like an alive relaxation. So we often talk about relaxing the muscles. But that's really also to think about having the qi or the blood, helping the qi and the blood to flow around the body better, which is what helps our achy joints. Any injuries, helps to heal injuries. And also just helps us to feel better in ourselves, to ward off illness. So I'm actually already doing Tai Chi now.
Uh-oh.
So let's introduce some basics. We're going to start sitting down. So, and as you can see, I've scooted my way a little bit towards the front of my chair. These aren't ideal chairs. The best one is like a piano stool. It's nice and flat, okay? But the reason I'm doing that is because I want to feel my seat bones. I want to feel that bony bit in my bum there. And you can find that a little bit by kind of rocking back a little bit and then rocking forward. And you want to find that kind of sweet spot where you feel like the weight is going down through those seat bones, those bony bits, okay? The other thing you'll notice, I've got my feet a little bit apart, and they're actually what we call shoulders width. Basically means that the outsides of my feet correspond with about the width of the outside of my shoulders, and this will make more sense when we're standing up. You see my knees are in the same direction as my feet. Now I want you to take a moment to feel your feet on the ground. So I'd like you to feel like the pad of the heel, the pad of the foot behind the big toe, and then the smaller pad behind the small toes. And we'd like to feel them about the same amount. And again, this is going to become even more relevant when we stand up. Now there's a very important place in Tai Chi which we refer to as like our movement center, or our center of balance. It's called the Dantian. I put my hand down here because we can actually find it by placing our first finger in the belly button, lining up the other fingers underneath, and place your finger next to your pinky. That's about the height of it, and it's about 1/3 of the way into the body. One way of relating to it is, well, if you see like an acrobat doing a somersault or something, they're turning around this point. It's also very beneficial as a non-verbal kind of awareness. So it's like we're used to thinking about stuff. We can feel stuff in this center here. This is a place actually where we can drop both of those down to the lower belly and be more present in our bodies. So, arms are resting lightly on the knees. One more point, we're going to talk about an important point at the top of the head here. So in Tai Chi we talk about feeling as if we're suspended from above by a silk thread. There's really nice imagery in Tai Chi. And it's actually, rather than where we might think as being the middle of the head here, it's about 1 inch further back. You can actually find it by following the earlobe up to the apex of the ear. Leads us to a point about here. And what that does is it tucks the chin in slightly and relaxes and opens the neck. Puts the head on top of the spine because we're lining ourselves up using our posture as it was designed to hold us. And before we stand up, we're going to breathe a little bit. So we do something called diaphragm breathing. Some of you may already know about this. But basically we want to breathe as if the muscle of the diaphragm is attracted towards the lower belly, towards this dantian point. Another way of thinking about it is to breathe as if you're filling the lungs from the bottom to the top. So very much like when you see small children breathing, the belly expands with the inhale. we want to go back to that way of breathing too. So let's take a few deep breaths. Just take a moment to notice what's happening in your body. What do you feel right now? Feeling your feet in contact with the ground and the spine aligned up above the seat bones, so the weight can go directly down the spine through the chair. Okay, let's stand up. So I'd say any of these exercises that we do next can actually be done sitting down. So if you're not very mobile, you can use the chair, but use those principles that we just worked with sitting down. Okay. Now standing up, we want to have the same kind of feeling. So we want to have that feeling like we're sitting slightly. So there's like a little lap in the hips, still as if those seat bones are pointing down. The legs are soft, you see my knees are a little bit bent. And again, can you feel your feet on those 3 pads of the feet? Mm-hmm. And actually I'm going to let you straighten your legs a little for a minute. And then soften them again and notice the difference in the sensation of your feet. Okay? Mm-hmm. It's different, right? You feel a little more grounded. So, still got the string suspending us from above. So we're going to work on relaxing and releasing, but rather than like collapsing, collapsed relaxation, we want to have a live relaxation. So this just helps all the joints of the body to feel a little more open, and for the chi and the blood to flow in the body. So we can still do the diaphragm breathing. I keep feeling like I need to talk louder because of the traffic.
And the helicopters.
Now, we're gonna do a little. Well, actually, we're gonna do a standing position with the arms stationary to begin with, and you can notice I'm swinging a little bit here. So my arms are relaxed by the side, right? And I'm doing this because I'm going to bring up the left arm, and then I'm going to wrap the right around it. So all of these moves, these qigong moves, come from the Tai Chi form. So even by doing these, you're learning a little bit of the Tai Chi form. So we call this in qigong embracing the Tao. So for me, that's very much embracing this moment where I am here, how I'm feeling right now, and just being present. It's like checking in with my body, seeing what needs a little bit of attention, a little bit of love, a little bit of softening. And through, spending just a couple of minutes doing this every day, you'll be amazed at how much you start to work on those areas which have been tense for a long time, like maybe, I don't know, the lower back, the shoulders. Oh. And none of this is endurance, so anytime if you feel like you're adding a little bit of tension in the arms, you can just drop them back down and see if you can bring them up with even more lightness. The other thing to notice here is whether this action of bringing the arms up has changed the way the weight is spread in the feet. Sometimes we can be there reaching and doing things and not noticing that we're also putting ourselves off balance. So again, if we can focus on a little tripod of points on the feet and the weight feeling distributed, then these joints will adapt to accommodate the arms out in front of us. Just take a moment to breathe and to feel your body. Pay attention to your feet. See what you can soften, even if it's just a little bit. It's all incremental. Feeling suspended from above. I know we've only got a short time to introduce these things. I'm going to run through them a little bit quicker, but I hope when you practice in your own time, you'll spend a little bit more time. As I say, it doesn't have to be very long. Very long. I'm English. I always say, make my cup of tea in the morning.
cuppa.
I fill the kettle up. I flick it on, I stand there and do a little bit of this.
Yeah.
And then when my tea break's brewing, then I do the next one, okay? So this is called the yin-yang breath, right? And this is like, it looks like this. Connecting with my thing a little bit. The arms are drawn up and out in front of you. And then they come in towards the body and down the body. So again, we'd like to keep that same sensation in the feet, even as the arms come up and out. So this actually goes with the breath. So as we inhale, the arms come up and out, just to shoulder height, doesn't have to be any higher. And then as we exhale, they come in, and then the heel of the hand leads the way down the front of the body. What we're actually doing here is we're encouraging the flow of qi. There's a major pathway in the Chinese system of medicine, which runs up the back to that point at the top of the head, and also up the front. And then from there, the qi flows to the whole rest of the body. So you can go at the speed of your own breath. You don't have to stay with us. But I'm going to inhale the arms up and out, and as I do so, the energy actually travels up the spine to the top of the head. And now with the exhale, it travels down through the face, down the front of the body. And reconnects where it started. So we have a continuous circulation of energy up the spine, and then down the front of the body. We'd like the arms to feel as light as possible, responding to the breath. I should mention it's called the yin-yang breath because actually young energy rises with the inhale and yin energy descends with the exhale. So this is a really nice way of calming the sympathetic nervous system, calming the nervous system. Before I became an acupuncturist, I was an architect. I used to do this a lot. When I got a bit stressed, I'd go and stand out on the balcony and do some yin-yang breathing. So let's just check in on your feet as we're doing this. So anything you can change so you feel like the weight is spread evenly over both feet. Are your legs still soft? You notice anything that can be a little bit softer or a little bit more relaxed. And let's do 2 more. One of the easiest ways of feeling aligned is actually when you're on one leg or the other leg. So here, when we're here, we talk about this being double weighted. But really, there's a lot of benefit to shifting of the weight, right? So this one, we're going to have a little bit of a wider stance. We call it a bear width. But you'd still like to be able to get all of your weight over one leg or over the other. And I didn't mention this, but if there's anybody who has a little bit of trouble with movement, you can always have a chair, preferably a higher one or something next to you, just in case you're feeling a little unstable. And I said the goal is to get weight over one foot and then over the other foot. But again, you might not be able to do that to begin with, and they might not be able to do that. So we've still got the heels turned out. Again, I mentioned earlier that opens up, did I mention it? The base of the spine. And this is for, the channels that we're working with the yin-yang breath, helps it to flow up the spine if this is all open down here. So Again, there's 3 points on the feet. I love these 3 points. It actually allows the toes to relax. You find that once the body starts to recognize when the weight is spread evenly over the feet, it tells us a lot about what's going on above, and also we don't have to hold on with our toes to hold us up. So start with a little bit of shifting, just side to side. And just notice how your foot feels with the weight when you've got as much weight over there as possible. So this in itself, I do this a lot, particularly in New York, because you're standing around waiting for stuff, and you don't have to have bear's whip, you can just have whatever. The shifting from one foot to the other, because it activates the muscle pumps in the leg side, helps to pump the blood back to the heart. In the Chinese system of health and well-being, they often talk about the legs being like the second heart, because it helps the heart. And then also the lymph. I mean, basically, Tai Chi and movement is all about helping everything to flow freely around the body so it can keep us fit and healthy. But in terms of balance, here we are using the skeletal alignment, so that everything is aligned in a way that allows the weight to go down through the foot. We often find that maybe you get stuck a little bit in the hip. So it's like, well, what can you change? Maybe drop the hip a little bit to allow the weight to go down. So these are the kind of things we can work with a little bit more when we work with people in a group. But as these guys, this might be the only Tai Chi they ever do. Just the shifting. The shifting is great. We're going to add a rotation, and this is another really crucial thing in Tai Chi, is that we want to keep the knees in the same direction as the feet. I don't know how many people have knee issues. I come across a lot of people with knee issues, and we could do a little knee massage at the end of this time. But basically, knees are really good for this, right? They're not good for this. There's a little bit of leeway with side to side, but really that's how injuries happen. So we want to be conscious, particularly of the weight, the foot with the weight, that the knee stays pointing in the same direction as the foot. So if we want to turn, we've got to turn in the hip. We have these wonderful hip joints here, and see if I turn, how I get a crease there in my pants. And then I'm going to shift to the other side, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to fold into that hip. The knee stays in the direction. So this can be like a big aha moment for people, because we don't really think about using the hips in this way. We just like turn the whole thing, and that's when the knees come, okay? So we're going to shift, and we're going to turn the direction that we're shifting. So now I'm going to shift left, and I'm going to turn to the left, fold into this hip. And you can do it. I do this because it's helpful to see it, but it's also helpful to feel it as well if you want to. If you put your hand just in the inguinal crease there, and then the other side. And these muscles and tendons, ligaments, everything around here might be a bit tight because we're not used to using them in this way. So it doesn't have to be a big rotation. Just work within the limits of where your body is right now. That's it. It's like a little gentle massage for that whole area. It's really wonderful. A couple more things to add. Now we're going to bring the arms up in front of us, okay? And we're not going to do anything, we're just going to have them move with the body. So we don't have to do anything with the arms for them to just be moved by the movement of the dantian. And I've mentioned the dantian a few times as a movement center. We'd like the movement to come from this area. So if you find that it's your shoulders leading a little bit, so you can drop back down to here and have the movement come from here. It's like whole body movement. Right. So if this is enough, just do this. If you want to try something else, we're going to add a turn. So this time, I'm going to start with my weight. Actually, I'll start the other way, then you can see me. I'm going to start with my weight in my left foot. I'll turn to the left. I'm going to have my right hand on top. Palm sees palm is as if I'm holding a ball. I'm going to shift to the right, turn to the right by that fold in the hip, and at the end, the hands are going to roll over, roll around the ball. And then I'm going to shift in the other direction, and at the end, they're going to roll around the ball. So even though we're shifting from one foot to the other, we'd like both feet to stay on the ground if possible. Oops. We want to stay grounded and balanced. And once you've got the hang of this, You can be a little bit looser with it, but always go back to the feet. Go back to the feet. How do they feel? And be wary of kind of looking at your hands. You know, the head is heavy, so the head, you want to keep that on top. This is called actually constant bear with looking owl, and it's because it has a bear-like quality. Have you seen the videos of the bears scratching their backs on a tree on YouTube? But we have this owl sitting on top of our head to remind us to keep our head on straight. Looking good. This is my fave. I like them all. So that's 3 basic qigong moves. If you want an extra, I do a little knee massage for people with knee issues. So this is like the same sitting thing, and this works really well. People get a lot of benefit from this, because sometimes it's like, you know, when you're learning something like that constant bear, you're thinking about what you're doing, you're not always conscious that the knees are doing this, right? That the knees, and then that's where you might start to feel problems. Because there's a lot to think about. So this is basically, you want to do it after you've generated some energy or some qi in your hands. And you just take the hands, you're going to put them on the inside of the knee, and we're basically going to go around the kneecap. So you go down on the inside, under the bottom, and then back up on the outside. And it's what they call a qi massage, so it doesn't have to be like, it's not like a, you know, what we think of as massage. It's just really encouraging the flow of qi and blood around the knee. And you do this 49 times for some reason, I think, so that you have like focused attention. It's very soothing, so anybody with knee issues, this is a really nice little thing to give them, or for anybody at home to do.